Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Mavid Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We'll chant Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verses 11 to 15.
ये यथा मां प्रपद्यन्ते तांस्तथैव भजाम्यहं मम वर्त्मानुवर्तन्ते मनुष्या पार्थ सर्वशः काङ्क्षन्तः कर्मणां सिद्धिं यजन्त इह देवताः क्षिप्रं हि मानुषे लोके सिद्धिर्भवति कर्मजा चातुर्वर्ण्यं मया सृष्टं गुणकर्मविभागशः तस्य कर्तारमपि मां विद्यकर्तारमव्ययं न मां कर्माणि लिम्पन्ति न मे कर्मफले स्पृहा इति मां योऽभिजानाति कर्मभिर्न स बध्यते एवं ज्ञात्वा कृतं कर्म पूर्वैरपि मुमुक्षुभिः कुरु कर्मैव तस्मात् त्वं पूर्वतरं कृतम्.
In this chapter 4 of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, we have done up to shloka number 10. In fact, from verse 1 to 10 is the first topic, where he talks about self is the eternal teacher. It is the pure consciousness that speaks through the Mahatma, one who has exhausted all the Vasanas, dissolved the ego, and has become one with that pure consciousness. So it is the pure consciousness talking through the body-mind-intellect complex of that person, whoever is enlightened. So, therefore we say it is self that gives the knowledge. Only to the extent you have unfolded the self, you can communicate the self. So when a person has 100% unfolded the self, he or she becomes enlightened. Such a person is called Sthita Prajna or Sthira Prajna, one who is enlightened. So the knowledge given in the Vedas, the Upanishads, are all, we say, Bhagavans. It is apaurusham. Paurusham means that which comes through human effort. So this knowledge is not something that comes through human effort. When the human, through the efforts, have dissolved the ego, then the divinity speaks through that person. So therefore, self is the eternal teacher. In this, we studied about the avatara concept and all that. Then finally, in verse number 9 and 10, he says, those who know my divine birth, how the self manifests, animating the Maya. Maya is the potential within, and the self, pure consciousness, identifying with the Maya, brings out the Sukshma Prapancha, the subtle world, and then the Sthula Prapancha, the gross world. Now, we as beings, jivas in this world, who are not acquainted with the Shastra, who have not done enough reflection and contemplation upon the scripture, do not know this even intellectually. Some of us may know intellectually, but essentially we don't. So we all come under the sway of Maya, whereas the divinity, which is beyond Maya, doesn't come under the sway of Maya. Divinity animating the Maya, using the Maya, brings out this universe. Now, when I understand this, then I understand that everyone is essentially divine, and my nature also, my essential nature also is divinity. I am that Brahman, infinite, not what I think about myself. So the more and more I reflect and I, dwell upon that knowledge, I get established in that knowledge. Then what is the benefit I get? I drop the individuality completely and I become one with Brahman. So in verse number 9, he says, "He who knows thus my divine birth and action in true light." How the action belongs to Prakriti, how it manifests. I am just a Sakshi, and all that when you understand. Having abandoned the body, he says, meaning rising above the body, rising above the Vasanas, one is not born again. The idea is not, idea here when he says that one is not born again means one doesn't fall into this relative mundane existence of birth and death. He or she thereafter starts living with 100% awareness. Such a person comes to me. Comes to me means he's become one with divinity. Remember, it is not attainment, it is attunement. You have to borrow some word or the other. Attainment means you are not divinity, you have to attain it. Attunement means you are already divinity. You just didn't know. Through knowledge, now you have attuned yourself to that frequency. That's all. See, there is a radio. In different frequency, different programs are being broadcasted. When your radio set is tuned in to that particular frequency, it catches that. So like that, you get enlightened by establishing yourself in this knowledge. And how do you get there? He explains it step by step in verse number 10. He says, Vita raga bhaya krodha manmaya mam upashritaha bahavo jnana tapasa puta madbhava magataha. So, what he says is, many people, which means what? It is not only exclusively meant for few people. It is meant for anybody who is qualified and ready and do this, fulfill these conditions. So what do they have to do? They have to rise above Vita Raga Bhaya Krodha. Means they have to become free from fear, attachment, and anger, desire and its modifications. How do you become free from all this? In the beginning, when you have too many vasanas, it is through karma yoga, giving direction to your actions, giving direction to your desires, doing it in the spirit of yoga. You drop the bulk of the vasanas. You drop the desires. You rise above them. You rise above desire and its modifications, fear, anger, jealousy, greed, all that, even though it's not mentioned, is only mentioned 3. Fear. When do you develop fear? When the desire is fulfilled, you're afraid of, getting, losing what you have achieved. Or when you have desire, you're afraid of not getting what you desire. And once you fulfill, there is greed, fear. Then you compare yourself with those who have more than you. You develop jealousy. You compare yourself with those who have less than you. You develop arrogance. So kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, bhaya. When the desire is interrupted, you develop krodha towards the person or the situation that is interrupting you. So all these modifications you rise above by doing action. You have to do the action, but you have to do it in the spirit of yajna, yoga. Then it is called karma yoga. Understand? And we said karma yoga means what? Dedicating the action for the higher goal and accepting whatever comes as a result as prasad. Arpana bhavam and prasada bhavam. When it mixes with your action, it becomes karma yoga. Then the bulk of the vasanas you drop, you become relatively fearless. You're not bothered. Inflation, tariff, all this is what you read in the newspaper. It doesn't scare you. Then he says, Manmaya Mam Upashritaha, means absorbed in me, taking refuge in me. Now, today we are taking refuge in the material world. Even if we go to God, we pray to God for the material things. We have not taken refuge in God. When we understand that all these are temporary, passing, fleeting, they are only useful for transactional purpose, then we take refuge in divinity. Then we have grown up to the level of upasana. Upa means near, asana means sitting. Sitting near the divinity, doing mental worship. Upasana is mental practice where you focus on Ishtadevata, an idol, which represents the ideal. Not everybody can conceive the idol without a form. Therefore, everybody may require a form. So, through the form, you may start channelizing your emotions towards the higher. And that's what he calls as absorbed in me. The person thereafter, everything is absorbed in the direction of the divinity. And that person has taken complete surrender, refuge in the divinity. There is no fear, nothing. Lord takes care of the world. And I am just a small portion of the whole total. Compared to that, I am nothing. So when the whole universe is being taken care of, how will I be left out? So everybody is getting the results according to their actions. And that the Lord is taking care. So why do I fear? That absolute refuge. So here he's talking about Upasana Yoga. Then he's saying, Bhuta Madbhava Magataha Bahavo Jnana Tapasa. Through Jnana Tapasa, many people, see, after Chitta Shuddhi, through Karma Yoga, and Chitta Ekagrata through Upasana Yoga, you come to Jnana Yoga. What is Jnana Yoga? Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. Shravana means listening or reading. That's the first step. Then second step is reflecting, questioning what you studied, what you heard, thinking about it. Why? Why is he saying so? Is it applicable in all contexts? Or only in certain contexts, etc., etc.? Why, when, where, how, which, like that when you question, you begin to understand. That is Mananam. After Shravanam, Mananam. So in the class, you're only doing Shravanam. You have to go and do Mananam. The teacher might have done enough Mananam and maybe continuing to do Mananam. But you should do Mananam if you want to progress further. Reflection. Then Vidyasanam, which is, I gave the example, like soaking the pickle in vinegar and all that stuff. You have to soak yourself in this knowledge, maintaining a certain lifestyle, sattvic lifestyle. Then you completely get purified. Absolutely get purified through jnana tapas. Everything is a tapas. When with a higher purpose and vision in mind, you consciously withdraw from the lower and direct your energy towards the higher, it is tapas. That is tapas. So, he says jnana tapas. Through the tapas at in the level of jnanam, shravana manana nididhyasana, they become absolutely purified by the fire of knowledge. And thus, they exhaust the complete vasanas, sanchita vasanas, and they attain my being. Many have attained my being. So you can also attain my being if you understand all this and you choose. But the choice is yours. You understand? You can choose either the divinity or the world. Now from 11 onwards, he's going to say this only. I, Ishvara, Brahman is neutral. God is neutral. God is neither favoring X and going against Y. Nothing like that. Each one has a choice of action. Every human being has a choice of action. According to one's action, one gets the result. So, very few people who, even when they study the scripture, can rise to the level of setting self-realization, liberation as the goal. Forget self-realization and liberation. At least self-development as goal. You know, many will still, in spite of coming to, the Vedas, may still be interested in the worldly things only. You don't have to really put in effort to be purified from the fear, anger, jealousy, and all to do your daily rituals, isn't it? You can, I'm not saying everybody does like that, but I'm just giving an example. One may be counting the rupees as chanting the shlokas. Shuklambaradharam Vishnum Sashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadhanam Dhyayet Sarva Vipnopashantahe. You can keep giving instruction to others like that. So you don't have to be purified to be necessarily following the rituals. But if you understand the symbolic meaning of all these rituals and all that, and then with awareness, when you follow, then you obviously get purified. So rituals and all are not meaningless. You can follow them unmindfully. But if you follow them mindfully, it has tremendous benefit. Swamiji beautifully explains all this in that book, Symbolism of Hindu Gods and Rituals. Those of you who do not have it and wish to have it, you can get it. You can get it contacting our institute, or you can get it in Amazon and all that. It explains why we do these prayers, why do we do these rituals and all that. It may not be an exhaustive list and explanation of all the rituals, but good amount of rituals and prayers it explains. So many have attained, not all have attained. Bulk of the people are still pursuing the world. They are not pursuing Brahman. And accordingly, I give them results. I am neutral. This is what he is explaining from verse 11 onwards. From verse 11, he goes into the next topic from 11 to 18, how self relates to action. That is what is discussed in verse number 11 onwards. Let's chant shloka number 11.
ये यथा मां प्रपद्यन्ते तांस्तथैव भजाम्यहम् मम वर्त्मानुवर्तन्ते मनुष्या पार्थ सर्वशः.
Howsoever men approach me, human beings approach me, even so do I satisfy them. Men tread my path in all ways, O Partha, O Arjuna. Partha is another name of Arjuna. So, Sri Krishna is telling here, howsoever men approach me. So, it is not that God tells you do this, you keep this as goal, you keep the divinity as goal, you keep world as goal, nothing like that. People approach divinity, howsoever, with whatever bhav they approach. Even so do I satisfy them. You understand? So what he's saying is, in this universe, you can come with a particular bhav and accordingly you are given the results and you continue being like that. Swami Ramtita beautifully he says, a slave is a slave because he is free. It's a very simple statement he makes, but we go through somersaults to understand this. A slave is a slave because he is free. You are free and you bound yourself. And you are free even when you are bound. You can work and free yourself. So, you make yourself or you mar yourself. You are the architect of your fortune and misfortune. Don't blame the God for your misfortune. Don't have to be grateful in the sense, not that you have to be ungrateful, but don't say, oh, thank you, God. As a devotional practice, as a bhakti practice, we say thank you, God. That is good. But I'm saying it's in a way meaningless because of our effort, our direction, how we approach the divinity. See, it is the self divinity in each one of us that enlivens our physical body, our mind, our intellect. The same pure consciousness is enlivening my body, mind, intellect to talk now, and it is the same pure consciousness enlivening your body, mind, intellect to listen. So, with the body, we perceive and act. With the mind, we feel various emotions. With the intellect, we think various thoughts, contemplate. So, the perceptions, actions, emotions, and thoughts are enlivened by what? By the divinity only. Now, we can use it or we can abuse it. You understand? You are given a knife. You can use the knife to save people, or you can use the knife to kill people. Similarly, we have this, we can use the self to uplift ourselves and uplift the world, or we can abuse it, waste it, and devolve. You understand? So, how you approach, so do you satisfy them. Men tread my path in always, O Partha. See, this men tread my path in always. Generally, we say in Vedanta, everybody is pursuing happiness only, isn't it? So, those who are in the world are also pursuing happiness. Those who have understood that the happiness is not in the world, it is within, and then turn towards the self within, they are also finally pursuing the happiness only. One is doing it ignorantly, other is doing intelligently, not with knowledge. So, therefore, that is one interpretation. Men may tread my path in always. They are only men tread my path in always means they are treading my path only in any way, meaning happiness only. That is one meaning. But what he is saying here particularly is, see, in the third chapter, Arjuna asked, you seem to be praising knowledge, but forcing me to do Gora Karma, the terrible action of killing, especially my guru, great grandfather, and all that. Why are you doing it? He is asking. Now, this is how the third chapter begins, Karma Yoga. I don't know whether you remember, you might have forgotten. So let me remind you. Arjuna is asking, Arjuna Vacha, Jayasi Chet Karmanaste, Mata Buddhir Janardana, Tatkim Karmani Goreyam, Niyojayasi Keshava, Yamishreneva Vakyena, Buddhim Mohayasi Vame, Tadekam Vadanishitya, Yena Shreyoham Apnya. He says, if you consider knowledge superior to action, why are you forcing me to do action? And that too, Gora Karma, terrible action. With an apparently perplexing speech of yours, you are confusing my mind as it were. Tell me with certainty one thing by which I can attain Shreya. This is the meaning of these two slokas. Verse number 1 and 2 is asking this. Huh? Why? Because in the second chapter, and this will be like a, in a way, summary also for many of you. In the second chapter, when Sri Krishna spoke, he first, from verse 11 to 30, talked about Atma, Anatma, Viveka. He gave knowledge. Then only comes to Karma Yoga. Then, of course, the discussion is moving to Sthita Prajna, man of perfection, enlightened soul. This is the entire second chapter. So there, he first gives knowledge. Then, before giving Karma Yoga, he criticizes karma. He is only criticizing karma. He is not criticizing Karma Yoga. He is praising Karma Yoga. But we all are selective listeners. We listen very selectively. We go to God, not God, sorry, we go to Guru with a certain conclusions. And if that Guru speaks the same thing, you say, excellent. He is the best person. And you continue listening to him or her. If the guru has to say something contradictory, that's it. अरे बकवास ये गुरु छोड़ दो दूसरे जगह जाओ. You understand? So selective listening. Arjuna wants to stop action. That's what he was telling in the first chapter. I will not fight. Then he surrendered, then Sri Krishna gave all this in the second chapter. So Arjuna selectively listened when Krishna was criticizing karma. He says, Pushpitam Vacham, all these words are flowery speech. He's talking about Vedas. Vedavada Rataha. These people quote Vedas as the highest. He's talking about the Karma Kanda, the rituals. Pushpitam Vacham, flowery speech. And what is there beyond this? You have to do this. And what are they interested in? They are interested in getting the worldly results. Bhagavan ye mujhe de dijiye, wo de dijiye, ye de dijiye. And uske liye they have specific rituals and rites and they do that. Right? So he says, then in 45 he says, Traigunya Vishaya Veda, Nistraigunya Bhavarjuna. All these Vedas are talking about Triguna Vishaya. Triguna Vishaya means worldly things. Rise above it, man. You have to rise above these things. Meaning, do this, get that, do this, get that, go to school, go to college, and then get a job, and then get money, then buy property. This is what you do this method will give you so much more money. That method will give you less money. You multiply this, you invest here. This is all the whole thing. So the way the Purva Bhaga, which deals with rituals, the Karma Kanda, Mantra Brahmana Naranika, or he says, what? Worldly. Traigunya Vishaya. Nistray Gunyo Bhavarjuna. Rise above them. Go beyond gunas. Go beyond action. And then he also gave another very interesting example. He said, what is the use of a pond? In a village which is flooded, Yavanartha Udapane, Sarvata Samplutodake, Tavan Sarveshu Vedeshu, Brahmanasya Vijanataha. What is the use of all these Vedas, all these rituals and all that, man? Gain the self. Once you have gained the self, you will be having permanent contact with the bliss within. What is the use of all these temporary things? So, he is quoting that. Why should I do action? But after that, in 47, he said, Karmaniyeva adhikaraha mahaphaleshu kadachana, in second chapter. All that Arjuna quietly left. 47 to 53. So it is through karma yoga you rise above desires. With karma, you perpetuate desires. You increase desires. Remember, God plus desires equals human beings. Human beings minus desires equals God. Rising above desires, you become the divinity. You get liberated. So he says, howsoever men approach me, so do I satisfy them. Men tread my path only in all ways. How he is saying in that shloka, when Arjuna is asking, if you consider knowledge superior to action, why are you forcing me to Kora Karma? And then he says, see, this is why Sri Krishna continued the Gita. Otherwise, he would have stopped. Because when Arjuna is asking, he is not accusing Sri Krishna. He says, Vyamishreneva Vakyena Buddhi Mokhayasiva. 2 times Iva words come. What he says is, with an apparently perplexing speech of yours, you are confusing my buddhi as it were. Tell me certainly, which one should I do? Knowledge or action, which will give me Shreya, which is the path of good for me? This is his question. So the fact that he's telling, he's not accusing Shri Krishna. You're confusing me. He's telling, I am missing something. So I'm very confused. So therefore he uses the word apparently perplexing speech. And my buddhi is deluded as it were. You understand? Then Shri Krishna gave the answer in the third shloka of chapter 3. What did he say? Asmin loke dvida nishta pura prokta mayanaga jnana yogena sankyanam karma yogena yogina. Lokesmin dvida nishta. Lokesmin dvida means asmin loke. Means in this world, I have given two-fold path. It's only one path, but it has two folds. What are they? When you are extroverted, you have to follow action. As Lokes means dvida nishta. Nishta means singular. Path. Singular he puts it. And dvida nishta, two-fold path. Lokes means dvida nishta pura prokta maya naga. I've said it in the beginning. Vedadwara. Sri Krishna is speaking as Ishvara. So I have said it in the Vedas. I have said it through Vedadwara. What? For the extroverted people, action. For the introverted people, knowledge. Asmin loke divida nishta pura prokta maya naga jnana yogena sankhyanam karma yogena yogina. For people who are extroverted, they have to follow action as yoga, karma yoga. For people who follow karma yoga and become introverted, thereafter they can evolve to jnana yogam. So one is pravritti, other is nivritti. Pravritti margam is what? Action. Nivritti margam is basically renunciation, which means knowledge predominant path. So people either live in the world and choose material things, or they come to divinity. Very few people understand. So majority will be going towards the world only. And there is another reason for it. What is it? He is explaining in shloka number 12. But in this shloka, all he is saying is, whichever way they go. From one angle, everybody is pursuing happiness only. So they are treading my path only. That is one meaning. Another meaning is, whichever way they may go towards the world, or they may go towards the divinity, come to karma yoga, and then jnana yoga. What they are interested is what? What they are following is, they are following only my path. Extroversion and introversion. And they are using me only, the Atma, either in the higher direction or in the lower direction. Choice is theirs. It's absolutely in their hands. How they approach me, so do I satisfy them. So there's no point going and complaining and crying and bringing the house down. If you have the prapatti, the surrender, it says, no, yeyata mam prapadyante. How you approach. If you, understand the rituals and the meaning behind it and the science behind it, all that, you have to do it with that shraddha. That is more important. Then you don't do it to get something. You do it as though you've gotten it and you are saying thanks. So this is what they call as visualization also. In a different angle, you look at this shloka. You understand how you approach. Then accordingly I give you the results. If you have doubts in between, it gets delayed. The result. See, you go and order in Amazon. All these platforms are there, Amazon, Blinkit, and all kinds of things we use. Now, you go and order. And they say, you will get it in a day or 2 or 3 or a week, whatever. And it will come. Now, during Corona, they'll say this should reach you in a day or 2, but subject to the rules in your area. If in your area everything is shut and nobody can come in, you won't get it. So if you have that Shraddha, that Ishvara is the Paladhata and I get results according to my action, and bhav, and I have that bhav and do it. See, what do I want? If I want certain things, I should have that bhav. I should have no doubts and start doing action in that way. And when I do actions in that way, with that full bhav and surrender, as you have clicked place order, the packing has started there, isn't it? In the platforms that you place the order, that's how it happens, isn't it? When you buy something in Swiggy, you place order, you placed order, and then immediately it says packing started. The delivery agent is come to pick up your luggage, your food, and then he started towards your house. He is in 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 1 minute, like that it goes on. He's reached. And within seconds you hear the calling bell. Exactly like that. Exactly like that. This is what Jesus said. Ask and it shall be given. Seek and it shall be given. Knock and it shall be opened. But you have to knock it with that Shraddha, with that bhav. Otherwise you won't get it. So when you do it, when you do karma yoga, this is what it is. You may be interested in the beginning, the fruit. Thereafter you will slowly forget it also. You remember the example we discussed in the class. Children, when they are very small, baby, they cry when they are hungry, isn't it? They don't know. Before even they cry, the mother is ready with the milk and all that. But they will cry, I'm hungry, But as they grow, they've gone to school and when they come back, they know very well. They are not calling mother and telling, please make something, I'll be hungry when I reach home. They know very well when they reach home, mother would have prepared the food. So they won't come and ask, have you made it? They'll say, what have you made it? You understand? So, like that. How you approach, so do you get. If you approach with a doubt, you don't get it. It gets delayed. You understand? But here, though these words can be spoken from that angle also, here all he's saying is, the choice is in people's hand. They either choose the worldly benefits, pleasures, or liberation. And however they approach me, I give them the results accordingly. Whatever actions they do towards it, they get the benefits. Worldly results or the divinity. And whatever they may seek, they're treading my path only. What paths? Pravritti marga, nivritti marga. And they are anyway using me only, the self only, to the action. So in that way, they are treading my path in all ways, O Partha, O Arjuna. Then, now the question comes. He says, Bahavo jnana tapasa, in the previous shloka. Many through jnana tapas, putamat bhavam agataha. They have purified and attained my being. But which many means what? Many have not attained because many are not purified. Many are not asking liberation. Many are not working for liberation. Why is it? Why people, though this is the case, why they don't ask for the higher, why they ask for the lower? That he explains in the next shloka. Verse number 12.
काङ्क्षन्तः कर्मणां सिद्धिं यजन्त इह देवताः क्षिप्रं हि मानुषे लोके सिद्धिर्भवति कर्मजा.
So why is it? He says, they who long for success in action, कांक्षन्त कर्मणां सिद्धिं yajante iha devataha. Those who long for success in action, here means in this world, sacrifice to the gods. sacrifice to the gods. Devataha. I'll explain. Gods and the word God has to be understood correctly. And then he says, Kshipram himanushe loke siddhir bhavati karmaja. For quickly indeed, success is born of action in the human world. What he's saying is, first of all, people are ignorant that going on adding pleasures to my experiences. I am not going to gain happiness or remain in happiness because any pleasure is something that comes and goes. You remember? We studied this also. Where did we study? Verse number 14, chapter 2. Matras sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukadukadaha agama payinaha anityaha tam titikshasva bharata. O Bharata, O Arjuna, endure it. They are agama payinaha. They come and go. They come and go. What? Matras sparshastu kaunteya shita ushna sukadukadaha. The contact-born enjoyments brings heat and cold and pleasure and pain. Heat is pleasure now in Delhi because everything is so cold. Anything you touch is so cold. So heat is pleasure now. But the same heat is pain in summer. Cold is pain now. Cold becomes pleasure in summer. So he says, Shita, Ushna, Sukha, Dukkha, Daha. All these pairs of opposites, heat, cold, pleasure, pain, agama payinaha. They come and go. Anityaha, they are not permanent. Tam titikshasva bharata. You have to endure them. Put up with them cheerfully. We studied that. So, what he is saying, ignorant people, they don't know this. Right? They long for success in the world. Because they think, if I get that success, if I have a desire and if I fulfill it, then I'll get pleasure. And by that I can be happy. They don't understand. First of all. Later on he's going to say, they are dukkhayonayaha. The very Gita he says, they are wombs of sorrow. Ignorant fellow doesn't know this. Wise fellow knows this. Wombs of sorrow. First of all, the moment you have desire, you develop agitation. Till then you are happy. And then, once the agitation comes, now you have to fulfill that desire, then only the agitation will go. So you have to work. So much you have to do. And you don't know whether your efforts will get you that much money or whatever to get that object. So, constant agitation. And then somehow, let's say you get the results, you get the money which you needed for that, you get it. Now, do you think you'll be happy? The moment you get it, it starts reducing the happiness. Because by the time you got iPhone 17, Apple has already announced 18, I don't know what they're bringing next. It's coming. Or your neighbor has got something else. So happiness goes. And there is fear that it will be taken away from me. So there is only dukkha. We are caught in it, not knowing how to extricate ourselves. The story given for this is, monkey is very hungry. And monkey sees a jar, transparent jar in which some nuts are there. And then very few nuts are there. So it's not full, a jar full of nuts. At the base, some nuts. And the jar has a very small mouth. So the monkey inserts the palm fingers and grabs the nuts from the jar, from inside the jar. But once it grabs, now the palms, the fingers have now become the fist, isn't it? They've closed, they're grabbing it. So now it is not coming out of the jar. Now the monkey is neither able to release the nuts, release the fingers and release the nuts so that it can free itself, nor is it able to get out the hand with the nuts. This is our situation. This is how ignorant people function. So what do? They go on grabbing. And what do I have to do for that? Yajanta iha devataha. You have to sacrifice to the respective devatas. See, gods. Devatas is translated here as gods with a small g and the plural word gods. If he is referring to Brahman, it will be God in English with capital G and singular, not plural. So gods means various devatas, and all these devatas, to understand all these concepts, take the ministry. Finally, ultimate is Prime Minister. And under Prime Minister, there are so many ministries. And there is, there are state ministers also. And there are other people working under him. So, it is like that hierarchy. So, it's the divinity that is absolute. But it functions through various powers. All those powers in Vedantic parlance we call as devatas. Understand it that way. That's what we mean as gods in plural. In the modern context, you can say gods means relative goals. Different relative goals. Absolute goal is self-realization, enlightenment. Relative goals, ideals. You understand? And for those relative ideals, you have to follow certain prescribed actions dedicated to those goals. Like that, you want money. They said Lakshmi, Goddess Lakshmi. You want power, Goddess Durga. You want knowledge, Goddess Saraswati. Kubera. All kinds of various different concepts are there. So basically, there are so many rituals, particular rituals you have to do. You want children, you have to do this. You want power, you have to do this. So, and to those particular devatas, towards the particular ideal, that's what it means. You have to do those actions. Without action, you will get nothing. You understand? So now in the last shloka I said, with what bhav you go, automatically the God is giving you the fruit. Does it mean that without effort? No. With effort only. Now, I did say that with the bhav when you go, with no doubt, which means what? It is sanctioned. So your actions are thanksgiving, I said, rather than craving actions. So you do it. You understand? You're doing the actions, but not asking anything. And because you are in that bhav, and those things get attracted to you. They come to you. See, in world also, anyone you go asking, they leave you. I will tell you my own experience. I was not asking, but it amounts to asking. You may say so, but I was not asking. I can tell you very clearly. See, we conduct so many classes. We conduct public lectures. So many things we have to do, and there are so many disciples of Swamiji in Delhi conducting these things, not just me. And there's a place we all stay, rent has to be paid, there's that, so many things are there. So we approach some corporates are aware, and that also corporates where we are giving lecture. You know, so in some context, I was telling somebody whom I know for so many years, where I've been giving lectures in their organization. I said, if it's possible, if this particular thing you can sponsor, if it's possible, you please do so. And I sent them the details. After that, the way they look at me is different. They don't even contact me or whatever. I'm not bothered. What I'm saying, they misunderstood. See, ultimately, in the 40th shloka of chapter 6, Sri Krishna very clearly says, Nahi kalyanakrit kaschit durgatim tata gachati. You know, if you are doing kalyanakrit, you don't have to worry. It will come. You will only get the benefits of going towards the higher. So your work will not be hindered in any way. You may be tested, but it will not be hindered. So we are doing the action of, mentioning, but then people may leave you and go. So, it's not asking you, be in that spirit and results come. So he says, how it will come? By making you do. See, when your subconscious is filled with it, it will make the conscious personality act in that direction. Even when you start a business, supposing you are putting up an industry somewhere, first you have to acquire the land, you need money, so you say, okay, this much capital I can put, and then for this project I need some funding, so you approach the bank, you go with the project report, you approach the bank, and then once all that is done, then you have to buy the land, and then all that machines, this and all that will take few years to even set up the industry. But you start already selecting people. So that is important. That's why they say in management, first who, then how. How will automatically happen. How, you don't worry. Who. So inside you be filled with it, then that will make you do the actions. So you have to do the actions, dedicating it for those particular goals, ideals. That is what he refers to as gods. To those particular devatas, those who long for success in the world have to do action in that direction, and they do it. And this is the catch. He says, for quickly indeed, success is born of action in the human world. Kshipram himanushe loke siddhir bhavati karmajaha. Compared to self-realization, compared to enlightenment, the results when you seek the worldly goals come faster, quickly. He's saying quickly, he doesn't say easily. Kshipram, you understand, means quickly. You have to put in effort there also. But compared to enlightenment, this comes much faster. You understand? So therefore people go after things that come instantly. Today everything is instant, isn't it? Instant coffee, instant this, instant that, instant soup. Sab kuch instant. People who go to certain countries where they find it very difficult to get vegetarian food, their luggage is full of this only. This packaged thing which is ready. All they need to do is add some maybe water and heat it up. So instant, everything is instant. So the human mind wants the results immediately. So that is why many seek the world. Very few people seek liberation. You understand? Therefore he says, Kshipram himanushe loke siddhir bhavati karmaja. For quickly indeed success is born of action in the human world. So people always want that only, quickly. Sir, what is this you are doing? You are going on teaching one shloka or two shloka in a class, and then once in a while you go here and there, and class also doesn't happen. When will you finish fourth chapter? When will you finish the entire Gita? I am already 70, 65, 70, 80 and high BP, high sugar. Please finish it fast. So everybody is thinking like that. Fast, quickly, quickly, quickly. What you will get quickly? Only this you will get quickly. Liberation will take time. Take time doesn't mean how long. So in the same Gita, he says before long, year long. So people, how they approach me, accordingly, I give them the fruit. Means I'm only the Phaladata. Choice is theirs. It's not mine. And whatever they choose, they are following my path only. And why majority people seek the worldly things? Because the results come fast there. And they're ignorant also. They think adding 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, they get happiness. No. The formula for happiness is not addition. The formula for happiness is subtraction. Remember that. Subtraction of desires, rising above desires. We are adding, you are adding objects to your life, but you have also increased desires. So you remember we said this in chapter 2, sloka number 64, 65. Swamiji gives this formula. Happiness is equal to numerator, number of desires fulfilled, denominator, number of desires entertained. So if you fulfill 1,000 desires and you entertain 10,000 desires, your happiness is 1/10. It's a fraction. But now, supposing you fulfill 5 desires and you entertain 1 desire, you have now come to whole number. Now, if you fulfill 5 desires and you don't entertain any desire, zero, anything divided by zero is infinite. You will be in infinite happiness. So, happiness formula is what? Reduction of desires, not increasing, fulfilling. Oh, life goes in that. How much ever you fulfill, it's not enough. And this thing called inflation and all that catches up. You say, my God, thug gaya yaar. How much can I run? I'm tired. So it comes quickly. As quickly as it comes, it goes also. You understand? So therefore, he says people do not follow that. They follow these things easily. Easily means quickly. It comes. Therefore, they run after it. We'll continue with verse 13 next week. Let's come. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Tasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.